Have you heard about the 2018 study that showed half of prenatal vitamins tested had unacceptable levels of heavy metals? No? Well, now you have. I'm Kat, mother of 3 and founder of Ritual, the company making traceability the new standard in the supplement industry. I remember staring at my prenatal vitamins and finding all these things I was trying to avoid: high amounts of heavy metals, synthetic colorants, and unnecessary ingredients. So, at 4 months pregnant, I quit my job and started Ritual because I believe that all women deserve to know what they're putting in their bodies and why. I'm so proud of our prenatal vitamin. The ingredients are 100% traceable, it's third-party tested for microbes and heavy metals, and recently received the Purity Award from the Clean Label Project. You see, we trace like a mother because, let's be honest, no one cares quite like a mother. But don't just take my word for it. Trace for yourself with 25% off at ritual.com/prenatal.
We made this.
Greetings, Federation delegates from Earth. I am your host, Mike Slammer, and welcome to this special episode of We Are Starfleet. This is the first segment within the pod I am calling F1rst Impressions. Since Discovery launched, there has been an influx of new fans. Casual Trek fans have become Trekkies, and Trekkies have graduated into full Trekker status. Now, with Picard and Lower Decks, in addition to the various Trek productions that are coming out, there has never been a better time to jump into this franchise. And this segment is an opportunity to hear from you and how you're taking it all in. So with me today is my old friend, Jason Melendez. Jay, what's up, man?
Hi, Michael. How are you? Good. How are you?
I'm hanging in, man. I'm hanging in. Let's talk a little bit about your history with Star Trek. When did you first start watching?
Oh, see, with me, it's been kind of on again, off again relationship with Star Trek. So my father was a big original series fan. He used to watch all of those shows growing up. I was just casual about it. I would catch it on syndication and then kind of just fell off it because, I was into something else at the time, like Batman or Power Rangers. And then next
have to talk about Batman, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it. I'm going to let you finish your thought. Go ahead.
100%. But then I got into Next Generation, and the episode in particular, and I told you about this in the past, was the season finale where Picard turns into Locutus. Locutus, I'm sorry. And that just got me hooked into the entire franchise. But then Deep Space Nine kind of came in, and I wasn't really huge crazy about DS9 or anything because my whole mentality of it was, I want to be on the Enterprise. I want to know what they're doing. And that wasn't what the show was. And then Voyager came along and my mentality stayed the same. But then about halfway into season 1, I thought, you know what? This is actually a pretty good show. They had some good chemistry within the crew there. And then the show Enterprise came out, and then I fell off because I just, for some reason, wasn't feeling the cast as that. I was wanting more of a Kirk, a Spock, or even a Janeway going back to Voyager. Actually, it wasn't probably until you got me to go watch the reboot movie in 2009.
Yes.
And I remember that because that was on my birthday, and we went and saw it, and I was back in. I was in love with the franchise. I love how they treated the original series, but gave it obviously a modern update to the ship and the entire, atmosphere. And I was kind of back into it, and it wasn't until Picard came back where I was like, all right, I'm a lifer now, because I originally wasn't going to watch Discovery for the simple, frugal reason that I had to pay to watch it. And I'm like, no, it's not fair. I have CBS for free.
That was definitely a big barrier for a lot of people.
Yeah. It was, and it was for me too. But then you twisted my arm again saying, you got to check out Discovery. It was a really good show. And you did twist my arm, and I got into it. And by the end of the season 1, I was like, no, give me more. Like, this was actually a fantastic show overall.
Yeah, I remember you texted me a few weeks back after the first episode of this podcast dropped, and you said, and I quote, I didn't know the show was that gritty and realistic. Putting that on my list when I have a few days to binge watch the season. So you did you binge watch seasons 1 and 2 like back to back?
I did the best that I could. I did break it into 2 weeks. So season 1 was week 1, season 2 was week 2. It was tough though because I work long hours, and I'm like, all right, let me try to just sneak an hour in before bed and just keep going. But by season 2, I was so just into the show that I just couldn't do it. I had to just brave and go, all right, I only need 2 hours of sleep. I don't need to really function at work that bad. But yeah, I did definitely try my best to binge as hard as I could. But
oh man, what really hooked you when you were watching? I mean, so Discovery opens up with back-to-back episodes, that aired as a pilot.
Mhm.
So it was, the first 2 episodes of Discovery is a very tonal shift from what the show actually eventually becomes. So what hooked you? Where was the moment? What was the aha that came to you?
I'm gonna say, as far as storytelling goes, was the Mirror Universe, because it was around that time where I was really focusing on the show and saying, this is not your typical Star Trek show. Like, they actually had a continuation on a multiple episode span. Like, I guess the rest of the series prior, like Next Generation, DS9, what have you, was very episodic. You didn't have to really follow one episode to watch the other, whereas Discovery, you kind of had to watch this to understand point B. And the Mirror Universe was kind of that, because I wouldn't have known what was going to happen. Like how, for example, like Philippa Georgiou in the Terra universe, not the same as Philippa Georgiou in our universe.
Sure.
I just wanted to know what more about this character as opposed to why character A were different,
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. Seeing those character dynamics come into play, and especially, the Mirror Universe has always been like a fan favorite for a lot of people. I don't know if it's, if it kind of plays into our sensibilities of, oh, well, what if we were just pure evil and just went for it? What if it was like that? And you kind of see some evolution of the characters come across in the show as a result of them spending so much time in the Mirror Universe. It gets more fleshed out. There's more backstory to it. There's, how did they come across the USS Defiant, tying in the original Enterprise episode, In a Mirror Darkly, which I thought, I'm kind of with you when it comes to Star Trek Enterprise. Like, I watched it, but it didn't quite get me the way that, Next Gen or TOS or Voyager did. And I've kind of had it on in the background. I've been enjoying it a little bit more as an episodic tale, but they really did good with In a Mirror Darkly. And that was their take on the Mirror Universe and how the Defiant got there, and then threading that plot into Discovery, and how our heroes of the USS Discovery have to find the ship, find the culmination of Empress Georgiou, and how that all comes together. Really cool stuff, and it kind of fills my heart with a little bit of joy to hear you say, like, it was the Mirror Universe that got me. Because there's been a lot of, did they have to go there? Did they have to do this? Why couldn't they branch off and do their own thing? But I think tying the history of Star Trek and bringing in the fan favorite was a brilliant move.
I think, I agree with you 100%. I've always been a sucker for nostalgia. So every time I see something from the past get brought into something more modern, I'm like giddy all over again. I'm like, oh my God, it happened. Like, we could talk about it in a little bit, but what you mentioned in the Cage, the pilot episode, which I still haven't seen, by the way. I still got to find that episode. Where they brought that into season 2, kind of like that intro. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was like, they're bringing something from the old school days into this. So,
all right. So let me ask you, when you watched, we're gonna skip to that particular episode because I do want to talk to you about that. When that episode aired and it came on screen and it's like previously on Star Trek and it's all the original footage, did you think like, oh crap, I clicked the wrong thing?
So I'm watching on CBS All Access, and I thought that maybe there was a glitch in the show because I'm thinking, what the hell? I wanted to watch Discovery, and it's going through like all the previous episodes, and I'm like, okay, they're talking a lot about Pike. I didn't really see Pike in the original series, so maybe they were just kind of trying to tie things in, and they obviously did. But yeah, I was really confused when I first saw that intro. I'm like, all right, I mean, I'll dig it through for the next couple minutes and see why they're doing this. And that's why, because they were tying something in.
Wow. Yeah. Man, that feeling, if I could go back and just like bottle that feeling I had when I saw that, I would sell that for millions. That would be my retirement plan.
I'm sure that was every hardcore fan's like big geek out moment. Like, whoa!
Speaking of all the characters and everything, was there a dynamic amongst the crew members of the Discovery or the re-envisioned Enterprise that you really enjoyed? Was there some dynamics that you stuck out to you?
I've always liked Burnham and Georgiou's dynamic, even whether it was from the first season for the original Georgiou or the evil Empress Georgiou, because regardless what they were. Regardless where Georgiou was, whether she was from the original universe or the mirror universe, the dynamic between her and Michael was always the same. So it made me kind of curious as to what type of person Burnham was in the Terra universe.
Yes.
Was she just as sadistic as Empress Georgiou was? Was there a dynamic there that made them like Vader and Palpatine like in one universe, but then heroic in the original universe? I wasn't sure. I wanted to get to know more about that. But yeah, those two I was always huge fans of.
Yeah, my impression, we didn't get to spend a lot of time with our universe's Philippa Georgiou, but my impression was that it was very much a Picard/Data mentorship role, where Burnham was actually in the shoes of Data, as far as the audience would know. And there was a little bit of an allegory there of, here is this person she's on the command track, she's a bright star, she's very intelligent, she's got this Vulcan upbringing, she's had some trouble adjusting, due to the fact that she went through some traumatic, childhood, being raised on Vulcan, suppressing her emotions and becoming more Vulcan-esque, and now she's serving on, Starship. So I kind of got the impression that Georgiou was the Picard to Burnham Data a little bit. And not having to spend enough time with the two it leaves you wanting so much more. And Empress Georgiou being brought in, and those little tender, loving moments that they seem to have, even when they're kind of coming across what feels like ice cold headbutting a little bit, and especially drawn out fisticuffs, is just so much fun to watch.
Definitely. I always wanted to know, I guess we just discussed that, the whole Georgiou and Burnham thing. No, I guess I'll agree with you on that it was very close to a Picard-Data relationship, but it also kind of almost breaks my heart because I feel like something bad is going to happen in season 3. I don't know. There's just something that, because Empress Georgiou will always be who she is, and a part of me loves that about her. But at the same time, I feel that's going to be her downfall down the road, and will probably make us feel very sad. I just feel like a relationship is going to be ripped between those two. I don't know where it is, but I think that. But I felt like it's just a matter of time before they just go their separate ways, either by death or by just going different paths in their journey.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up. In watching the season 3 trailer and some of the released footage as part of the 23 weeks of New Trek, the advert CBS put out, the distinct lack of Georgiou in the trailer outside of fighting scenes, it tells you something about that story, or it doesn't tell you enough about the story, and obviously they want your mind to wander, they want you to get excited about it and feel, am I onto something? Is something going to happen? They want to add to that tension. But You mentioned that, and it makes me think that are they going to be on opposite sides of each other again? Are they going to be, in some type of a situation where they have to be pitted against each other? Or is it going to be just the character of Georgiou, reaching for power, grasping it, and Burnham says, "Hold on a second, that's not what I thought you were all about," and here we go. I'm super stoked to see how that develops because honestly, yeah, I mean, I love Georgiou and I love Burnham, and that whole dynamic is the kind of the crux of the show, in my opinion.
Right.
Of course it's the crew of Discovery. Of course, you've got Saru,
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, PrizePicks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the PrizePicks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on PrizePicks for a first deposit match of up to $100. PrizePicks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
You've got Washington, you've got the death and sacrifice of Arium, and these great crew members of Stamets, Wilson Cruz. Wow, I said the actor's name. Wilson Cruz, who plays Hugh Culber. I was just reading his Twitter earlier. That's why it kicked into my head. Shout out, hey, Wilson Cruz. There's a lot that you can take away from the entire bridge crew, but Burnham and Georgiou, their unique relationship parallels in very clever thematic ways. And I know for a fact that the writers have been playing that thread. They've been dangling it, and they've got so many great ways they can go with it. And as an audience member, as a fan, as just a person who enjoys watching even just TV in general, you don't have to be a Star Trek fan to enjoy that.
Yeah, I know I mentioned this earlier. I know I'm crossing into franchise territory here, but I'm going to mention a Star Wars reference. It's going to be about what made, I think, Obi-Wan and Anakin so compelling was their relationship, which made their breakup all the more heartbreaking to the fans. And I think that's what we're going to walk into. And I think in season 3, because like you said, you don't see much of Georgiou in the trailer. Did she get suckered in, or did she get was she appealed to power? Because we don't know what happened. We don't know why I feel like the Federation doesn't exist, or Starfleet doesn't exist in this new future. Right. So maybe Georgiou is going to be enticed with power in some way. We don't know how. Maybe this will be the new Empress Georgiou that she could finally be in this universe. And it's going to come down to a fight between her and Burnham, which is going to, like I said, break everyone's hearts who is a huge fan of this dynamic.
Yeah. You're not the first person I've talked to that has kind of caught wind of that a little bit. So It could be. I mean, we have a couple of months until Discovery airs, and we'll see what happens. But guys, if you're listening and if you agree with the comments you're hearing, please let us know. This is really interesting stuff. It's always fun being on the cusp of like a new theory, right?
Right.
You're like, I'm onto something.
Did I find something, or was this already discovered?
It remains to be seen in the Discovery. So I mean, we discussed quite a bit already, but is what in all the whoa, did that really happen moments throughout the 2 seasons, what really got you?
I don't know if this one really got me. I'm going to try to think, but in the top of my head, I'm going to say Arium's death. Because that was kind of rough. Because they started the entire show, the episode, with a flashback of her as, I guess, a human. She was human, right?
Yep.
And going back to her and her husband and her family in a beach, and it ends the same way, but not with a happy ending, obviously, because she sacrificed herself to save Burnham and the rest of the crew ultimately.
Right.
And it ended so hauntingly too, because there was no music. It was just, you hear in the background at the end credits just waves crashing up against the rocks.
Yes.
And it's like, it's kind of eerie, but beautiful at the same time in some bizarre way, because she went out like seeing this vision of her family, but it was still just, I don't know, it was sad, obviously.
Yep. That episode was a great tie-in to the Next Generation's Lower Decks, which also inspired the animated show, which we'll get to in a moment. But the callback being, they introduce you to this new character, they give you a little bit of backstory, they give you like her friendships and her life on board, the starship, and then she is tasked with a mission, and sadly, is sacrificed as a result of the mission. And whereas the Next Generation really focused on like what the impact of being in command has on the crew, and how decisions made often have real powerful consequences. Here we were more in it. We were more involved. It was much more emotional. I thought it was a great episode all around. Jonathan Frakes directed the episode.
Of course.
And you mentioned it's eerie, it's beautiful, and there's a lot of like little Easter egg moments where when you go back and you rewatch the episode, you start to see like, oh, here was Ariam being clued into something. The AI control was, systematically taking over her consciousness and her being. Another character I wish we had spent more time with, for sure.
Yeah. This might be the cynical part of me talking here, but when they got so involved with her backstory in the beginning of the episode, I thought in my mind, she's gonna go. Like, that's how you instantly kill off characters, when you involve someone so close, so quickly. It's like, I like that person, but I know now what they're gonna do with her or him. And they did. They cut her off, and I wanted to know more about her too. Yeah.
It was in season 1. She didn't really get too much screen time, other than just kind of being on the bridge and the camera shot right over to her. And here we did get a little bit more of Ariam leading up to the episode, but not enough. And when they definitely opened up with her, it's like, oh, okay, we're going to learn a little bit more about Ariam. That's cool. Maybe we're going to learn a little bit more about the friendships and the crew dynamic. And yeah, we did. And then Discovery, the writers, they just ripped that rug right out from under us.
They pulled a George R.R. Martin on us. Oh, you like this person? Nope. No more for this one.
You're not allowed.
Yeah. You can't like this person.
Oh, man. Well, it's really telling that they can create a character and they can give that character backstory and make you care, and then 40 minutes later you're feeling the impact of the loss.
Absolutely. Props to the whole writing team for that. I mean, have you invested in those characters so quick too, that just shows that they got some good talent behind the scenes too, and of course in front of the camera.
Yeah, agreed. So you said that you have watched Picard, yes?
Yes, I have.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about Picard.
Okay.
How did you feel? We haven't talked about this before, so I'm just excited.
Picard was what I had hoped was going to be, and watching the trailers, it was very, going back to why I got into Discovery. It was dark, it was gritty, and I'm gonna fanboy this. 7 of 9. 7 of 9.
7 of 9. They brought
have a major crush on Jerry Ryan. I follow her on Twitter, and to see her on there, and for her to be fully developed back to her individuality, and as a badass too, mind you, that just sold me on, like, obviously, Jean-Luc Picard was the big sell, but to have 7 or 9 in there as well, that was a selling point, and I slowly got invested in the rest of the crew. So when season 2 starts, I'm going to watch it, because they were all just fun to watch for this first season.
Yeah, agreed. bringing back 7 of 9 is just a really ingenious move on the part of the showrunners. Like, it makes perfect thematic sense that you have an individual who was assimilated long ago, went through this whole journey, very much like Data, mind you, of rediscovering who she is as an individual and as a person, as a human with personality, and able to make decisions of her own accord. And to have that person run into Picard, who lost Data, who was going through this period, and his whole quest was to become more human-like. So you have these great characters in orbit around each other.
I don't think we saw enough of their dynamic in season 1. I hope when season 2 rolls around, we get to see that chemistry between Picard and 7 of 9, and actually see maybe a Data Picard-like relationship.
Right.
Maybe not to the same identical, history, but
I don't think 7 is interested in being mentored.
No, not at all. But I would definitely like to see that.
You know, she had Janeway.
Which, speaking of which, I think that also opens up the doors for other Voyager cast members to kind of walk right in and, make a guest appearance or two on the show.
Yeah.
I hope at least.
Perfectly reasonable. I know Robert Picardo, who played the Doctor, I know he's expressed some interest. And everything, of course, is just scuttlebutt rumors at this point. We don't know anything for sure. LeVar Burton has expressed interest, and I did read the tie-in novel, which was an excellent book that kind of bridges the gap between the Next Generation and those many, many years and what the events of Star Trek Picard. And Captain Geordi LaForge plays a huge role in the Romulan armada that's being built, the Rescue Armada, the Romulan Rescue Armada. Yes. Maybe I'll edit that, maybe I won't. Who cares? There's definitely plenty of opportunity to bring in characters from either Voyager, DS9. I would love to see how things are shaking out with the Bajorans. I would love to see Worf come back, Captain Worf. I know Michael Dorn is a really big driver in bringing Worf back on screen, and rightfully so. These are characters that are beloved by the franchise's fans, by Trekkies, by Trekkers, and even casual viewers. They recognize a lot of these names. They're so embedded in our culture. Sure,
and going back to Discovery is I don't know. You might have been more researched in this. We don't know exactly where Discovery is going to end up in season 3, but is it possible that they're going to run into the same timeline as Picard or Voyager at the end of their run?
Well, yes, I think it is extremely possible. I also, there's been quite a bit of rumor and conjecture with Alex Kurtzman as well, the head producer for Star Trek right now. And it seems to me that with Star Trek Picard's plotline being centered around artificial life forms and the Zhat-Vash, preventing a artificial intelligence takeover of all human life, the parallels to season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, you cannot ignore them. They are basically, birds of the same feather here, and it makes perfect sense to me personally as a fan. Discovery is now 930 years into the future from whence it left, and that's maybe 700 and some odd years from Picard's timeline. I'm sure somebody's done the math somewhere, but is there some overlap? Are we going to see the same characters on the two different shows in some manner or form? It's quite possible.
One of the things I know you mentioned, I think a few episodes back, was the origin of the Borg. Now, maybe the Borg wasn't created from Control or Section 31, but maybe they were adapted in some ways to that. I always felt that once I saw season 2, and one of the things why I was hooked with season 2 was the same reason why I was hooked with TNG and Voyager, was that I've been a huge fan of the Borg and the conflicts that they've had with the Federation, and to see Section 31, go head to head with Discovery and the Enterprise. And I always thought that, okay, this is very Borgish, just small things here and there reminded me of it. And maybe at some point down the road, Section 31 wasn't destroyed, and maybe Control wasn't destroyed either, or maybe he just got assimilated into something else that eventually turned into Borg-like.
Right. And just for our listeners, just so you know, Jay did the air quotes around.
I did. I was trying to do quote unquote there, and I forgot. You can't see me.
Yes, we are on video. You are not. It's okay. Really, I spend a lot of time, probably more time than I should, thinking about how the writers of Star Trek in general drop a lot of little nuggets for future plots to be written. I think that for the most part, the writers don't necessarily expect, future stories to be taken in certain ways. So what they do is they kind of leave it so open-ended, and they leave like little hints and allegories.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Stories, where the nanites that infected Captain Leland on the Section 31 ship, they were green, and that's the color of the Borg.
Right.
That's the color of the Borg. The only other green is the Vulcan blood, and the Romulans, but the Romulans aren't really green per se. They just happen to have some of their ships are green, but they're also some are gray, some are black, so there's no real thing. But the Borg is black and green. That's the Borg.
Right.
So
there's definitely a color distinction there between Section 31 and the Borg. And when you see that, especially when you said the nanites being green, it's like, this looks familiar. We've definitely been down this path before. Maybe not identically, but definitely through some history of other characters.
It just feels like Star Trek is winking at us a little bit.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you guys see this? You guys seeing this?
Pulling the old Marvel trick there. We got a little Easter egg right there, and we'll see what you think of this.
Exactly. And, just like, and here's the thing we're going to talk about as well, but just like Marvel, the showrunners are very cognizant of what they show on screen and what they're talking about and what they're not showing. So there can be a lot inferred by things that are included or excluded. But very similarly to Marvel, there was a lot of Easter eggs dropped in different movies, and it gave different avenues, different stories that could be told depending on how things shook out. And with Star Trek and CBS creating the Star Trek universe, we are now officially 23 weeks of new Trek, although I suppose now it's 22, because we're counting down. But they have more shows on the horizon that are coming out. This is one of the biggest franchises in the history of all franchises.
Of course,
I don't know numbers, but come on, there's been 13 movies, if I'm not mistaken. There's been, several series that have been long running. You don't need to be a Star Trek fan to know what the Enterprise is.
Right. Which brings me the question to you, sir. Because there's so much material from Star Trek, from the original series to Picard and everything in between, and the future episodes and future TV series. Will CBS not branch off, but extend Star Trek into their own streaming service?
No, I don't think they will, because, and this is not a knock in any kind of a way, CBS, so if you're out there listening, don't take it wrong. But I don't think that they have any other IPs that are really standout and that they can really, let me put it this way. The only reason I signed up to CBS All Access was to watch Star Trek and to get it all unfiltered and to get that content directly to my TV, directly to my iPad, directly to my whatever. And without having to worry about, did Netflix re-up the contract? Is it on Hulu? But then I gotta watch it with commercials. It's like I just wanted to have all my Trek in all one place. So I don't think that they would split Star Trek in any kind of way.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, same reason why I'm paying my money for CBS is for Star Trek only. I mean, I can watch Blue Bloods any other time if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Not that I watch Blue Bloods, I'm just saying. It's just a show that's out there right now.
Yep.
Pike.
Yes.
Hands down my favorite character in the entire Discovery show, and probably beats out the entire franchise. And I didn't think anyone can beat Kirk, because I was always a huge Kirk fan. He beat out Janeway and John Luke, but I don't know if it was the actor. I think it was the actor, had to be, because of the charisma that he had in the show was just fantastic. Like, he made me want a boss like that, who was compassionate towards his crew, passionate towards the mission that he had, and he wasn't a jerk. To say, like, there was something about Lorca that I never cared for. There was just something off since season 1 or episode 1 or 2, I think, right? Or
Lorca first appeared in episode 3. Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have a good feeling about him. But then when I saw Pike in episode 1, season 2, I was like, I can get behind this guy. I like Pike. And the further we got in, and up until the season finale, I was just a huge Pike guy. Like, all right, this is it. This is the bar for any Star Trek captain and admiral, really, at this point. Wow. Yeah, I know. I'm man crushing this guy right now. He was good. I'm not gonna lie.
Anson Mount playing Captain Pike, and going back to that episode with Talos 4.
Yes.
When they did the fade out. So the original actor for Captain Pike was Jeffrey Hunter. And story goes that he just wasn't interested in taking on the contract. They didn't know if Star Trek was going to get picked up to be a TV show. He went on to do other things. So they had to replace him. But they already had this footage lined up, and they didn't know what to quite do with it. So he became the captain of the Enterprise in the Menagerie, where they reused a lot of that footage from the pilot. To kind of explain what the story was, how Spock served with him prior to serving with Captain Kirk, and how that all kind of shook out. And when Discovery was opening, and they did the previously on Star Trek bit, and they had the actor Jeffrey Hunter in the chair, and then the screen faded to Anson Mount to be like, okay, this is who he was, now here's who he is right now. It was, oh man, I get chills talking about it to this day. It's one of the coolest moments in editing. It's one of the coolest visual effects I've ever seen, and it's a very simple thing, but just how the faces just kind of lined up, and Anson Mount really embodies that very classic kind of a early 1960s vibe with the stand-up gentleman, on screen and on the stage, and you kind of can picture him being back in the 60s, literally just acting out. Something about the hairstyle, the way he carries himself. It's almost as if he role played an actor in the 60s in order to take on this role, because there's just something about the whole vibe and energy that he brings to the screen, to Discovery, even in this modern era.
He definitely took the role with respect. Like, when he got cast for this, he knew what he was going to do, and I believe that he researched the character and said, this is who I have to be, this is how I have to dress, this is how I have to present myself. And I don't know a lot of his work, or any of his work for that matter, but from what I saw on the show, he definitely treated the character with respect, and I can definitely respect that in the actor. I watched The Menagerie after I saw that episode to kind of give it a understanding on what happened, and it sucked. No, the episode was great, but it hurts. It
I was about to
hurts.
say, like, hold on, you need to elaborate.
The episode was great, but knowing what Pike's fate's going to be in that, futuristic wheelchair with the half face.
Yeah,
the
accident.
Yeah, it hurts because, you see everything that he's gone through in Discovery, and knowing now that what he saw is going to happen to him, it's just, but you don't know.
I know. It's trying to put myself in Pike's shoes. I think that's what a lot of TV movies, they try to do. They try to get you to really listen to the character and try to get you to imagine, like, what if I were Captain Pike? How would I react? And if you told me that would be my fate, I don't know that I would be able to handle it. That's right. It's a very, and of course, he even says it in the episode where he has the realization. He's like, I am a Starfleet captain. This is who I am. I embody these principles, and I'm not going to abandon them. Wow. Just.
And again, that's what made me respect the guy so much more as a character on the show, was that, he knew what he was going to get into. There was a chance that this is my future, that I'm going to be, sorry to say, a vegetable for the rest of my life. And he took on the responsibilities regardless. So, props to him for that. I don't know who else would say that after knowing what you're going to go through for the rest of your adult life and still take that path. That's courage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In one season of being, like, one true season of being a starship captain on screen for Star Trek, I gotta say, it kind of outshone Captain Picard for me a little bit.
That's what I mean. Like, I never thought that I ever thought that Kirk would be overshadowed, or Jean-Luc, or Janeway, or any of them for that matter. But Pike did a great job.
I mean, here's the thing. Right. So you've got Kirk, original classic. Can't go wrong. Everybody loves Kirk. Picard, also classic. Everybody loves Picard. Can't go wrong. You put them next to each other, it's like, who do you like better? It's like, well, they each have their strengths and their weaknesses a little, And then you've got Janeway, who's a little bit Kirkish, who's a little bit Picardish in a lot of different ways. And, people feel the way that they feel about it. And you've got Captain Sisko. Well, he starts as commander, becomes, either way. You've got Archer, you've got Georgiou, you've got Lorca, these captains all have their place in the lexicon, but in one season of Star Trek being on screen, not even like the entire season, just, yes, he was in every episode, but he's not in every scene. He's not giving 40 to 50 minutes worth of dialogue and monologuing all the time. He barely gives captain's log, but in all this time you've got Captain Pike, and it's just pedal to the metal. I love this man. I will follow him wherever he wants to go. I will do whatever he tells me. What would Pike do?
It's almost like whenever Pike was on screen, you knew business was going to take place. Like, something was going to go down, whether it was a simple dialogue between him and someone else, or whether there was going to be a battle scene. You knew that he was steady. His nerves were cool, and I think that's why when I saw him freak out when he saw his image in that one episode, that it was kind of, off-putting to see him freak out. It was like, oh. Yeah. I mean, obviously, who wouldn't when you see your face melted like that? But to see Pike actually, lose his nerves just a little bit, it's like, oh, that's not like him. Yeah. At least to me, it hasn't been. Yeah. Man. Star Trek Discovery. Like,
the cool thing about doing this podcast and talking with so many different individuals and interacting with folks on Twitter and Instagram, talking to you about it, my previous guests, Sean, Ian, Mike, the really cool thing is that you see how interesting and how well developed the show really is as a vehicle for Star Trek. It has the ethos, it has the spirit, it has, yes, it does the job to the letter, but it also does the spirit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's really cool. It's really cool to get your take today and to hear that you really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. I mean, like I told you in the beginning, it kind of hooked me in as a lifer now. I don't know if I'll go to any conventions. We'll see. Like, as far as dressed up, I mean, I still don't do that on Comic-Con, so it's going to take a lot for me to actually put on a costume. But then again, I do it for the sake of it on Halloween.
I mean, yeah. I'm very much the same way. Like, ironically, I've never been to a convention. I haven't even been to Comic-Con. I am a terrible nerd in that respect, and not doing my duty. But yeah, dressing up as on Halloween and everything. I did, however, I must say, I don't know if I told you this, but I finally did it. I got tickets for the Star Trek cruise in 2022.
Did you really?
I did. I bit the bullet. I was like, you know what, man? I always think about like going to these cool, like fan-centric Star Trek events. I've always wanted to go to the Star Trek Las Vegas show, but between money, and getting time off, and it's like, I got all these things I got to do. But man, COVID-19 has really just kind of been like, hey, no, when the whole world opens back up, I'm going to do everything.
Do it up, man. Doing a cruise like that would be awesome. I mean, you're going to see actors that you've watched. I mean, you've already seen Jonathan Frakes, but to see other actors and people who have been on.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
The franchise, awesome.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know if it's like, the whole idea of like rubbing elbows a little bit is really fun. It's a cool experience, but there's no fandom like the Star Trek fandom, in my opinion. It's just, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of, inclusiveness, and even when the fandom bickers back and forth, like, oh, it's not Star Trek, that's not my Star Trek, it's too new, it's, the graphics are too cool, like it should be all cardboard sets. At the end of the day, we still have this in common.
I think what makes Star Trek permanent in pop culture is that there's something for everybody. Like you just said, if for some people it's the cardboard layout like in the original series, for others it's the new dark and gritty look, and everything in between. You have something for somebody in some ways. And the Lower Decks is an animated show. You got something for them. You got something for kids now. It's just opening up the barriers for all tons of people.
Yeah. Lower Decks definitely appeals to, kind of the more rapid fire laugh, more like, zany, wacky humor. It's not, yes, there's science fiction involved. Yes, there's some exploration involved. Yes, we're all wearing the uniform in the Starfleet Delta. But at the same time, this is not your usual Star Trek. This is something completely different, and buckle in because we're going to take you for a ride.
It's almost like if Star Trek met Rick and Morty.
100%.
That's exactly 100%. What I saw when I first watched the episode. I'm like, this is Rick and Morty in Starfleet.
That's exactly what it is, and I think it works. It remains to be seen. We've still got the season to shake out. They've only done one episode, and the next one's going to drop probably in like a couple of hours. So, enjoy. Just kick back and have a couple laughs, and if you don't laugh, that's okay too. Like, not everything has to be, has to blow you away,
Right. And what, like you said, what sticks to one person isn't going to stick for everybody else. Just enjoy the ride. Enjoy what you're getting right now, really. This is just a ton of content for Star Trek fans. I mean, when was the last time you ever saw, all right, you're getting this series, then after this series, you're getting this one, and then after that, you're going to get something else? It's like, all right, I'm good.
Yep. I think so. Star Trek universe, they're trying to compete a little. I've been saying this, man. I've been saying this for years. I think you and I have talked about it before, but it's such a vast IP, and it's ripe for the picking. Like there's so many stories you can take out of it, and like Marvel, it's been 12 years since the Marvel universe kicked off, right? Or if I'm not, I don't know, but. Look at the success that they've mounted. All these films are coming out, the beloved characters, and they're just growing that whole franchise. Star Trek has been there since the 60s. This franchise has been growing, somewhat slowly at times, other times really big. But CBS is trying to compete. They're trying to get their own Marvel universe, and they have it. Everything on Star Trek right now is quoted as Star Trek universe. So they're going for it. And they're taking shots at the DC established universe. Or extended universe. What is it?
The DCEU. The DC extended universe.
Extended universe.
Yeah.
So you've got all these big players now coming into the market.
Yeah, it's definitely... They definitely have the room to do it, too, because... If Picard taught me anything, is you could bring back other characters from other franchises and expand them even further. I mean, obviously with 7 of 9 and Picard, if Jonathan Frakes...
Hugh. You can't forget about Hugh.
And Hugh, yes.
Yep.
And also, I don't know if Jonathan Frakes is up to it, but if he ever wants to command his own ship on a regular basis, maybe he'd want to be on this ride also. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
remains to be seen.
Yes, there's definitely a lot of room.
Yeah. Man, this is this was a good conversation, Jay. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
This has been a lot of fun. We've podcasting is a relatively new thing for me, so I appreciate you guys for subscribing, for tuning in. There's a lot of Trek podcasts out there that you can tune into. So when you choose mine, I am grateful and appreciative in all the ways. Always feel free to drop us a line. You can find me on Twitter at Mike Slamer, or you can email me at wearestarfleetwmtr@gmail.com. And we are a proud part of the We Made This network of podcasts at wemadethispod.com. Also on Twitter and Instagram at wemadethispod. Jay, when are we going to start our Batman pod?
I would love to do one sooner than later. And let me tell you why real quick. Because DC Fandom is coming out. The first time that they're going to do a DC-like Comic-Con where it's just, DC stuff.
Ooh, okay.
And there's just a ton of news that's going to come out of this right out of the woodwork about Justice League, Batman movies that's coming out next year. Other things that they're keeping hush-hush. If you remember Batman Forever in 1995, they plan on talking about the Schumacher cut. I don't know if anybody's really is aware of that. But a lot of information coming out of this next weekend, I think.
Interesting.
Interesting. A lot of content now that DC is using. They want to, I guess, fight back. They want to revive what they lost because of Justice League and Suicide Squad. And now with Star Trek making a huge, comeback, that I think they want to light the fire under DC and say, hey, we got all these movies too that should be coming out soon.
I mean, they're great characters. Bring them to the screen. Yes, one movie failed, didn't do as good. One movie was, the other was like, oh, cool, I really like that. Why not? Just keep trying until you get the right formula, right? Well,
one of the big controversies, and I don't know how in depth you are with the story, is that the Snyderverse. Okay, so this is kind of easy. I'll do this really quick because it's a long history here. But Zack Snyder directed Justice League. Left after production due to a family tragedy. Joss Whedon took over and finished the movie and the post-credits. Nothing what Zack Snyder wanted. This was not his vision. But Warner Brothers was like, release it. We want this out now. So Joss Whedon released it. No one was happy about it. It bombed in the box office. And then as soon as it bombed, Zack Snyder released on a social media platform. I forgot what it was. It wasn't Twitter or Instagram. It was something different. That he had a cut that was 75% not what we saw in this version. So this huge movement came out called #Release the Snyder Cut. It was a petition, there were billboards, and after a couple of years, Warner Brothers caved and said, fine, you have it. So now next year, they're going to re-release Justice League in HBO Max. That will have, I believe, 4 hours of uncut footage. So yeah, it's going to be Justice League that we've never seen in theaters. A few things here and there, but for the most part, it's a new movie. We will have Darkseid. We will have the Black Suit Superman, and other than that, they're kind of holding back on what we're going to see next year.
All right. Well, the cool thing is, and one of the reasons that I want to do this pod with you, Jay, is because I like Batman. Everybody, come on. If you don't like Batman, are you even a person? Like, do you exist?
Everyone wants Batman. Everyone.
Everybody wants to. Literally, the entire planet has dressed up as Batman for Halloween at some point in their lives.
I still do it.
You do it every year.
Pretty much.
But you should, because you got a great freaking costume too.
I plan on updating it actually, because mine kind of took a dump. It ripped apart on the last time I wore it, so now I have to update it. So we'll see what I'm going to do with it this year.
All right. Are you going to include nipples?
No bat nipples. No, I can't do bat nipples.
All right. Well, we will have to offline our planning stages, but I'm already thinking about the theme song for it. I'm already thinking about names.
Please.
I'm already thinking about like potential episode ideas, and because I've seen so many of the movies, but I know that there's so many different animated series that fans of Batman say are like, this is great. Batman Beyond is amazing. You got to watch this, you got to watch that, and there's a lot of stories that stuck with me as a kid. Like Batman versus Predator, for instance, is one of my all-time favorite graphic novels. And, going back, I haven't read it in a very long time, but going back and thinking about that and like just the brutality of that novel and how cool it was to think about, like, here is the Predator and he's hunting the Batman, and then it's the Batman hunting the Predator. Like, that's just so cool. Like, I want to talk about all this with you. And who knows, maybe we'll get that started sooner than later. Yeah?
I would love that. Seriously, like, keep me in touch with that.
Jason, I really appreciate you joining me today on this podcast to talk about Star Trek. And where can we find you?
As far as Instagram goes, I do have 2 pages. I have Jason Wait for It Night. That is my personal page. And I also have my Super Saiyan J _Black. That is my fitness page. Yes, I am a massive geek, and I take nothing seriously. For my Twitter, it is right now under construction, so to speak. I mean, I have 2. One is very political. I don't think anybody here really wants to get into that version. If they do, reach out to me. Reach out to Mike to reach out to me. And I do have another Twitter page that I'm also working under for the Batman podcast. And I'll get back to everybody, including you, when it's ready to rock and roll.
Right on, man. Right on. Very cool. And my final question for you today is, you're on the Enterprise D holodeck. What setting are you choosing to play out? He's thinking. I see he's looking off camera. He's looking off camera, and he is dutifully pondering.
I'm gonna be a stupid geek and just go right back to Gotham City. I want to be Batman. I want to drive the Batmobile.
Nice.
And bring up. Maybe have Catwoman as my lady friend.
There you go. Anne Hathaway?
Torn between Anne Hathaway and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Ooh, that's a classic. Jay, thank you so much for joining me. You can find more Trek-related pods, such as The Sanctuary, a podcast on politics and economics of Star Trek. Rarely Going, a Lower Decks podcast, and Make It So, a Picard podcast. You can find these and more at Jean-Luc Podard on Twitter. All of these are available on just about every single podcast platform you can imagine. Don't hesitate to engage with us, guys. We don't bite. We love Trek. We love you. If you love Batman, if you love Dragon Ball Z, if you love the Marvel Universe, listen, this is all in the same vein. We love talking about this stuff. Hit us up. And with that, all I got to say is hailing frequencies are closed.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.